everybody, my name is Mars. You can call me May or MG if you would like, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my favorite books from middle school. So a little bit ago, I did my favorite books from elementary school, and I said I'd be interested in doing like middle school, high school, college, and so that's what I'm doing today. I'm actually going to be filming all three, the middle school version, high school version, and the college version in one go, just because I have the time and energy, so why not? So I'll be wearing the same outfit in those videos. That's why. No clue when those are going up. You'll get them eventually. But, yeah. This is going to be probably my favorite of the videos because I'm talking about some of my favorite series of all time in here. So I was in middle school from 2009 to 2012, and I honestly really hit my stride. I've always been an avid reader ever since I learned how to read, but the books that I found when I was in middle school really stuck with me, and they're some of my favorite books of all time, and I'm very excited to talk about them. Also, all of the books on this list have been Nostalgia Train book club picks, which is super fun to me, and I'm going to link the book club down below for you to check out, so be sure to do that. So the first series I'm going to talk about, because all of the books on this list are actually series, is Ranger's Apprentice by John Flanagan. This is book 2. I figured I'd hold it up because I don't have a dust jacket for book 1, and rather than look at a plain brown book, I figured I'd give you something to look at. This is also my favorite in the series. So this follows a boy named Will, who is an orphan. He doesn't even have a last name, and he becomes an apprentice to Halt, who is a ranger, which is basically like the secret service of this country. They have like these cloaks that camouflage them in like the woods and everything, and they're very good archers, and they're very secretive, and there's like rumors about them that they're like magic users and stuff, and it's just a very fun series, and I love it so much. I borrowed the first book from my brother in middle school in 7th grade because I had a teacher who had this rule that everyone had to have a book in class every single day so that if you finished your work early, you had something to do. And one day I was getting ready for school and I realized I had no books to read. I didn't have anything checked out from the library. I didn't want to read anything that I already owned. And so my brother was like, you can borrow one of my books. And so I borrowed the first Ranger's Apprentice book and I fell in love instantly. As you can see up here, I have this whole shelf of John Flanagan books. I haven't bought a lot of his stuff from like the past 5 or 6 years, so since I've been in college, and I do want to, I just haven't gotten around to it because college is very intense and I didn't really have a lot of time to read. But I love this series, this world so much. So there's the main series, which is Ranger's Apprentice. There's Ranger's Apprentice The Early Years, which is a prequel duology. There is the sequel series, which is called The Royal Ranger, and then there's the spin-off series that follows boys from a different country called the Brother Band Chronicles. So there's this whole big universe of books, and I just love them so much. They feel like coming home whenever I read them. Next, I want to talk about 2 different series by the same author. So we have Reckless and Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. So these are 2 of her more famous series, I think. Inkheart is a trilogy, although there's like a sequel-ish coming out later on this year called The Color of Revenge. And then Reckless currently has 4 books out, but plan to have 5. This also has had a rebrand. So the original setup was that the first book is Reckless, the second book is Fearless, the third book was supposed to be called Heartless, but it was between books 2 and 3 that they did the rebrand, so now book 1 is like the Petrified Flesh or something, and they have like names like that where it's like the blank blank. And then Inkheart, the series is Inkheart, Inkspell, and Ink Death. This was made into a movie that's like okay, it's not great, but it's fine, starring my boy Brendan Fraser. I love Brendan Fraser. And this follows Maggie and her father Mo, and then they are like kidnapped because Mo has this magical ability where when he reads out loud from a book, he can pull things from that book and send things from his world into the book. And this whole thing happens. The villain in this is named Capricorn, which I just think is a really fun name for a villain. This book follows Jacob Reckless, who discovers one day in his father's study, this mirror that can bring him to this fantasy version of our world, and his brother follows him one day, and bad things happen. Now, I love these books so, so much. This book is one of the first books I ever bought with my own money, maybe the first book I ever bought with my own money. My family and I went to this bookstore, and it was like really cramped and crowded, and I was like 9 years old, and the books were stacked floor to ceiling, and this is the one that I picked out, and I loved it so, so, so much. And the next year, we went back to that bookstore because we were vacationing in the same area, and I bought the sequel. And it's just such a nostalgic series for me. This is the book that was the Nostalgia Train Book Club pick. This one has not been picked. Maybe in the future, who knows? But these books and Cornelia Funk in general just hold such a big place in my heart. Next, we're going to talk about a book series that probably everyone has at least read the first book of at this point, and that is Percy Jackson by Rick Riordan. This is actually book one in the sequel series, The Heroes of Olympus. So there's 5 Percy Jackson books, 5 Heroes of Olympus books, and then 5 Trials of Apollo books, and then there's like kind of spin-offs with 3 books about Egyptian mythology and 3 books about um, Norse mythology. I don't know why I lost my words there. And I actually lent my actual Percy Jackson books to a friend like 4 years ago, and I don't really talk to that friend very much. We live in different states. I've accepted the fact that I'm never getting those back. I'm just not gonna buy new ones anytime soon, probably. I I just prioritize buying other books. One day I'll buy the Percy Jackson books again, but for now I'm holding up The Lost Hero. So Percy Jackson, though, follows this boy, Percy Jackson, who finds out he is half Greek god, and he goes to this summer camp called Camp Half Blood for people who are children of the Greek gods, and learns to fight monsters, goes on a quest. It's an amazing series, and I love it so much. There's a movie adaptation that's not good, a TV adaptation which is coming up soon that I have high hopes for, but I'm also cautious about. I don't know. I love Rick Riordan's books so much. I will buy anything he writes. I'm gonna say this for all of them, but it has a very special place in my heart. The next series I want to talk about is A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. This is book one, The Bad Beginning, and this series took me so long to finish because there are 13 books, and this one is relatively short. They get thicker as you go along, and the last one is like 400 pages, which to a kid is a lot. To a lot of adults, that's a lot. To me, not so much. I do read really thick books, but regardless, I picked this up when I was 6th-ish grade, maybe 5th grade, but like around 6th grade, and I read the first 3, 4, 5 books, never got the rest from the library for whatever reason. A couple years later, I tried again, and then a couple years later, I tried again. It took me like 4 times to finally get through all 13 books, and I remember crying so, so hard. I was in high school when I finally got around to doing it, like maybe even a senior in high school, and it just broke me. There are quite a lot of unfortunate events in the series, but I just adore Lemony Snicket's writing style. I think it's so unique and fantastic, and I'm just kind of obsessed. I've been collecting these over the past couple of years. I've been thrifting them. So right now the only book that I'm missing is book 9. So every time I go thrifting, I'm just on the lookout for book 9. And the last book I'm going to talk about in this video is Graceling by Kristen Kishore. This is actually the Nostalgia Train Book Club pick for May, so definitely check out the link in the description, like I said, if you're interested in reading this. This book follows Katza, who is a Graceling, which is just someone who has this magical power, or grace as it's called in this world, and you can tell who's a Graceling because they have 2 different colored eyes, and their power can be anything really. It's just that they have some enhancement to them. So like they give examples of how most of them are mundane, like this guy's grace is that he's a really good swimmer, or this guy's a really good baker, things like that. Katza is the niece to the king, and her grace is killing, or so she says. There are some secrets uncovered, and one character in this I absolutely adore, and I don't want to spoil it, but we get like a revelation it's a hard word to say for some reason, about his character that I don't want to spoil because it's a very big moment in the book, but it's like chef's kiss. So, so good. I'm very excited to reread this next month with the book club. So those were all the books that I wanted to talk to you about today. I'm so happy to be talking about them because these are some of my favorite series of all time. Let me know down in the comments if you've read them, whether you read them with the book club or not. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, guys.